believe me, I totally understand. You're trying out for that power metal band, and they're probably going to boo you off the stage because either you're not fast enough, you're not accurate enough, or probably both.
I will keep going tonight.
I'm totally kidding. But in this video, I'm going to give you practical tips and an in-depth analysis on techniques of how to get faster and make sure that you keep your accuracy. So let's get into it. And one of the things that holds people back, to be honest with you, is speed. And then, of course, you hear all those guitar players say, well, Aiden, speed doesn't really matter, and it doesn't mean that you're a good guitar player. Well, here's the facts. Most of the time, the people who say that speed doesn't matter are people who actually can't play fast. And most of the time, the people who actually can play fast, we don't do it really all the time. We do it when it's appropriate. And to be completely honest with you, looking at how guitar has been going lately, speed isn't really going anywhere. Shred isn't really going anywhere. It's just used in different ways. So what we're going to do is we're going to catch you up with the time, so that way you're not busy doing your pentatonic scales using your down picking and things of that nature, and you're also not relying on those crazy legato runs where you have to use no pick. And instead we're going to get you some serious accuracy with both of your hands, and you're going to sound freaking awesome. So for understanding how alternate picking actually works, we first really need to talk about a very specific form of alternate picking called Pickslanting. And honestly, it's helped my playing a lot. I used to be a pinky anchor and a wrist locker, and that caused me to have speed but no accuracy. Okay, so we don't want to sacrifice our speed, but we want to keep the accuracy in there. So we're going to go over that. So the best way that I can describe alternate picking is by using a couple of things. Number one are my fingers, and number two is this Go Gel. I'm using this Go Gel that I usually use when I run as my guitar pick as an example because it's big and you're going to be able to see it really, really good. Okay, so the very first thing that we need to understand is that when we're alternate picking, essentially the hardest thing is not getting caught in between the strings. So when we look at it like this and I'm picking, if I pick down, up, and I want to get to the next string, it's very easy to get caught in that string, as you can see, and then just kind of move out of the way and then do it again. Well, as you know, with guitar, the smaller movements are what make things a lot faster and more accurate. The same goes for the amount of movement. So instead of doing this and then this and then this, we can instead do something called Pickslanting that will help solidify the change from one string to the other without getting caught in the strings. And there's basically two forms of it. There's the downward Pickslanting and then there's the upward Pickslanting. Okay, so the downward Pickslanting is when the back end is pointing to the ground. Okay, so you're turning it, I guess you could say, you're turning the back end of the ground, and then the upward Pickslanting is the opposite when you're turning the back end up, okay? For our demonstration though, I like to just say the pointy end is up to the chest and then the pointy end is to the ground, okay? So for this first part, we're gonna talk about the pointy end being up to the chest, okay? So if we take a look right here, I've got my strings and I've got this guitar pick. A lot of people struggle where the guitar pick is dead on like this and then it gets caught. So what we need to do is do a slight angling where the back end is to the ground, or like I'm saying, the pointy end is up to the chest. Boom, 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 boom. And then I'm free, boom, 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 to go to the next one and the next one. And the nice thing about this is the amount that you have to turn it is actually really minimal. It's in millimeters, okay? But as a start, I'm gonna have you exaggerate it just so you really see how the movement actually works when we go to our guitar pick. The opposite would be when there is an uneven number of notes per string, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. We need to get really good at even, and then we need to get really good at odd, and then we can start mixing them together. So as a start, all we really need to do is just focus on the open strings, okay? We're going to cup the hand like this. We're going to basically hold the pick like this, like the James Hetfield way, but then we're just going to close the fist, keep it relatively loose. Everything is in the wrist, not in the arm, so do not have a locked wrist. That's going to make things a lot more difficult for you. Highly recommend that you don't anchor the pinky either. You're going to use the meaty part of the thumb under here to sit on the strings that are above whatever you're doing, and you're going to let those strings get just slightly muted, and it's going to make you sound even better. Okay, so for a start, what we're going to do is we're going to go slowly from the bottom strings, the top strings all the way to the bottom, or the lowy to the high, whatever it is. Okay, so if you're with me, everything should be alternating. So you should never repeat a down pick or an up pick. Okay, so go through that slow and get used to that, and then start doing some bursts. When you do the burst, I made a warm-up video about this, so definitely go check that out. All that really is we're basically going to take the first 4 notes and then land on the next note on a down pick. You can do this with any string pair. Okay. Just like that, make them bigger. Just like that. And before you know it, you're going to be able to go through all the strings. Okay? So that's essentially how you're going to practice this. And you're going to do this with even numbers. What I recommend doing is doing groups of 4 and 6 to start, and then add 2 and 8 when the 4 and 6 start feeling good. Do this for at least 5 minutes every single day. Okay? Once that's good, we're going to take a couple of really easy and fun exercises with our left hand, and we're going to talk about how to develop the left hand here real quick. So in this section, before we get into the odd number, we need to make sure that this hand is doing really, really well. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 different shapes of a group of 4, and we're going to do them with octaves. So all we need to do is we're going to use an A minor scale, but we're going to do it hexatonically, so we're going to skip the 7th note. Okay, so I'm going to play it slow for you first. Okay, so that's your riff. It's 4 notes per string. The pick slanting will stay the same. Okay, so if that's understood, the other variation for it is instead of using the 5, 7, 8, 7, I want you to do 5, 6, 8, 6. Okay, so I guess that would be considered what, a G minor scale on the Locrian mode. Okay, and you're going to practice them in the same ways that we talked about with playing it slow. And also doing some bursts. And all we're really focusing on is we're focusing on the string switch. If you notice how I'm adding an extra note at the end of the next string to make sure that I'm getting that string switch with the pick slanting, that's what you need to focus on. The same thing goes for the other one. So for this next section, we're going to talk all about the left hand. So how do we keep the left hand really fast, accurate, close to strings, relaxed? We're going to talk about that right now. So the first step is to be really relaxed. Now, a lot of us started out playing guitar really harsh, right? Thinking that we have to push down on the frets as hard as we can. That's not the case though. Figure out how light you can push down and still get a sound. Right there, and do that with all of them. That's the first step. Okay, then what I want you to do is focus on keeping the fingers as close as you can to the fretboard. When we're talking about how things work with our hands, when we start guitar, we usually see a lot of this. We got to be very relaxed, and we got to focus on keeping those fingers as close as we can to those frets without actually touching the frets. So instead of this, we want... Okay, and that's essentially how you're going to maintain that really good sound. You want to practice that left hand movement slowly and go through all of those positions, and then also quickly through the burst. So slowly, close to the frets. And then quickly with burst. And that's pretty much how you're going to build that speed with those even numbers. Now, there are a lot of other things that you can do, like groups of 2 and groups of 8, but all this stuff can be done like mathematically. So focus on things like groups of 4, things like groups of 6 exercises, groups of 2, groups of 8. Now, just to pause for a second, if you feel like you're really struggling with this, if you feel like this is information that you want more in-depth on, if you just want to save time and you just want to stop taking those guesses and shots in the dark, click on the link below, get in touch with me. I have a masterclass that literally has everything that I do on this YouTube channel times 10, where you basically learn the inside and out of shred guitar, the rhythm guitar, everything guitar, music theory related, it's all in there. There's live calls, there's community, all kinds of really good stuff. So click that below. Now, when we talk about odd numbered pick slanting, there's kind of a couple things that you need to think about. Number one is when we're doing an uneven number of notes, okay, the pattern will always end up changing. So if you do like a group of 3 and 6, you need to pay attention to how the pick needs to be turned. But for the sake of understanding the most important stuff, we're just going to focus on the opposite tilt. So upward pick slanting is what we call, where the pointy end is down to the ground, the back end is up. Okay, so all you're going to do is you're going to do a group of 3 first, and then you're going to do 6 for the rest. So the pick should be turned that way. It doesn't have to be that crazy and drastic, but that's how you end up doing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 notes with a minor scale. Okay, 3 notes per string, and we're going to do, and then for the rest of them, you're going to double it. Okay, and if it feels awkward, good. That means that it's something new and that's something that you really need to work on, okay? If you notice, what I'm doing is I'm working on this with bursts. I'm doing it slowly. Okay, so what you want to focus on are those bursts, playing it slow, etc., etc. And if you're doing it right, every time you change strings, you should start with an upstroke. One thing that I really want to explain and emphasize is those open warm-ups that we did. Make sure to do them with odd groupings too. So take groups of 3. Every time you do all odds, you got to change the direction. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And you'll see it's like you're turning the keys in the ignition, right? So that's going to be very, very important for your growth here. Make sure to watch that practice routine video. It'll make a lot more sense when you do that, okay? So far, we've had the even number, we've had the odd number, and now we combine the two together. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the group of 3 and the group of 6. With the same minor scale. So how this works is essentially, if you map it out with just the open strings, you do down, up, down. Pick has to be pointed to the ground, then up, down, up, down, up, down. The pick is still pointed down. And then you up, down, up. Now the pick is pointed up to the chest. Then down, up, down, up, down, up. The pick is pointed up to the chest. Down, up, down. Pick is pointing down. And then the pick is pointing down again. So it's basically every 3 strings you change. It's all about getting different numbered positions, working on them with the open strings, and then working on them with the left hand. You can also isolate the left hand if that's what's struggling for you. But in summary, all we really did was we worked on open strings with even number, open strings with uneven number, and then we worked on different licks that represent those same numbers. So hope that helped. Let me know in the comments, and then I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.